G'day guys, Disney Dave coming at you once again from Down Under with this week's Q&A video. And this week's Q&A marked 1 entire year on YouTube. I can't believe this. I have been on this particular YouTube channel here for 1 year. Honestly, it doesn't really feel like that long, but in this time I've done over 100 videos. I don't know, it almost doesn't feel like I've been going for a year because my channel was very slow at the beginning. As I said in last week's video, I only made like 200 subscribers in the first 800 months. Whew, that's a long time. No, sorry, not 800 months. 8 months. I'm very tired if you can't tell. Look at those eyes. Very tired this morning, it's so early. Sorry, I made 200 subscribers in the first 8 months. And in the past 5 months, I've made an additional 400. So, you know, it almost feels like I've only really been doing the channel for 4 months or so because it's only been in the last 4 months that I feel like my channel has had like a clear direction. Even in the last few weeks, I feel like the direction is sort of I'm still just trying to push a direction and find new things to explore and new ways to do videos and new ways to interact with people. And I feel like the channel's still getting off its feet. The first few months on the channel, I was doing videos that were like really long. If you go back and look at the earliest stuff I did, there were 30, 40, 50-minute videos. And I never really felt happy with them. I knew I wasn't getting the hits I needed. I wasn't getting the subscribers I needed. And the one thing I knew I needed to do was get a logo, which I commissioned my incredibly talented friend Sean to draw up for me. If you like her work, if you like my logo and you want to check out some more of her work, she does some really, really beautiful, fantastic like character studies. I absolutely love it. If you want to check out any of her stuff, I'll try and check a link somewhere up here. Sean Tayla Visual Development and Design. Little link for Sean up there. So yeah, that was a big part of it. I need to rebrand the channel, new logo, and also cut those videos down. So most of my videos now don't really go over 7 minutes, 10 minutes. Last week's Q&A went for about 15 minutes, and I'm guessing today's probably will as well. Try and keep those videos short, and that's part of this new direction that I've been trying to go. And look, it's proved successful because, as I said, 200 subscribers in 8 months, and then an additional 400 plus subscribers in the last 4 months. So I'm obviously doing something right, and I feel like the channel finally has this direction and finally has a small community building around it as well. And I'm gonna try and build it bigger and better, bigger and bigger, bigger and better, bigger and better. This lens, I can't even put the autofocus on this lens because when I put the autofocus on, it just keeps shifting the whole time. It's annoying. Okay, let's get into these Q&A questions. There's sort of different questions this week. Last week I sort of had a mix of like personal questions about myself and a mix of questions about movies. Most of the questions I have for you guys today are about movies and about my thoughts on things, which I think is really cool too. I like having sort of a variety of different things to talk about. So first up, Emmett McCann asks, what Disney film do you wish had a sequel? I'm not going to wish for any of the animated films to have a sequel because I feel like the animated movies should remain their own thing. I mean, they don't need sequels. And if you look back at the catalogue of the last, 55 or 50-something, 50-ish movies that Walt Disney Animation has produced, only a very small handful of them have actually had sequels. We think of Fantasia and Fantasia 2000, The Rescuers Down Under, Saludos Amigos, and Three Caballeros. I don't know if I'm missing any, but other than that, no Disney movie has really had a theatrical sequel that's considered part of the classic canon. There's been lots of home video sequels, but we don't count them as part of the canon of Disney movies. I feel like that's the way it should be. Frozen is apparently getting a sequel, Wreck-It Ralph is getting a sequel, I think Zootopia is getting a sequel. I wouldn't be surprised if they came out and said Moana is going to get a sequel. I don't think we need them all. I don't think we need all these sequels. Pixar has proven that. With the exception of the Toy Story trilogy, Pixar's sequels have been like hit and miss. But I will say the one Disney movie I do wish did get a sequel, or there's actually a couple to be honest. Look, Disney have been trying to push this direction for their live action movies to be going for the last 10 years or so, and they've been, again, hit or miss with their movies. It's only recently they've finally found success with remaking their animations as live actions. But previously to that, they were trying to dip their toes into all these different new little franchises and see what kicked off, and nothing really did kick off. Oz the Great and Powerful was one. I really really enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but I enjoyed it. I said last week the original Wizard of Oz is my favorite movie of all time, and the novel is one of my favorite novels of all time. I just wish Disney had given the world of Oz a better chance. Oz the Great and Powerful was a good jumping point to go into a trilogy or a franchise of Oz movies. I feel like it was a wasted opportunity. They could have done a lot more. I would have liked to see where they took it in the future, because that one was about Oz coming to Oz, and then they did another one about Oz's travels in Oz or Oz's life in Oz, and then I'd love to see like sort of a pseudo remake of the Wizard of Oz where Dorothy and the Scarecrow and the Tin Man and the Lion, and you know, I would have liked to have really seen that. I also would have loved to have seen them give the Lone Ranger another chance, which I actually loved the Lone Ranger, and John Carter. That was a decent movie. It wasn't great, but I feel like it got more flack than it deserved. They had originally planned that as a trilogy based on a series of books. I really would have liked to see how they developed that over a trilogy. Emmett McCann again also asks, what 3 Disney films do you want to get a live action treatment? I don't know. Look, I'm happy to leave that to Disney because what they've done so far I've really liked. I liked Maleficent, loved Cinderella, loved The Jungle Book, adored Beauty and the Beast. They've got so many on their plate at the moment, it's hard for me to pick one that they don't have in development. But if I did have to pick anything, Snow White maybe. I don't know if there's one in production at the moment, but I'd like to see how they did a Snow White live action. We've had those ones from Universal, which were average. I'd like to see how Disney goes with it, you know, with the Disney characters, and I don't know. Little Mermaid also would be fantastic. If they could get that off the ground, I think that would be just a stunning movie. Sort of along the same lines, this question. John Ingham asks, what franchise would you love to see Disney make a film of that they don't own yet? Look, Disney have had so much success in buying out previously existing franchises and making epically amazing things out of them. Star Wars, Marvel movies, even the Muppets, Pixar. There's not another franchise I can think of, pre-existing franchise that I can think of that I'd like them to tackle. But there is one franchise I'd like to see them start up, and if you give me a second. These are some of my favourite books of all time, and they're Enid Blyton's Enchanted Wood books. The Enchanted Wood, The Magic Faraway Tree, and the Folk of the Faraway Tree. These are some of my favourite books as a kid. There's never really been any film versions on them apart from some animated movies, TV shows sort of thing. But these books were sort of some of the first fairy tale, sort of fantasy, adventure kind of books that I suppose I gravitated to as a child. And I've died to see them do a movie, and I feel like in this day and age, a franchise based on these books would be incredible. If I had the resources to be able to do it myself, if I ever got successful enough myself, I'd love to tackle it. I believe, though, director Sam Mendes has optioned off the books. This was a couple of years ago. I haven't heard much on it since, but apparently his production company were developing movies. I'm not sure. But yes, I think Disney would be perfect for this franchise, especially with all the fantastical, wonderful stuff they've been doing lately. They would be so magic, and I think Disney would put this beautiful spin on these books with all this motion capture stuff and all the CG technology they developed for The Jungle Book. I think would just work so well in Enid Blyton's Faraway Tree, Enchanted Wood world. Anime, Nintendo, Disney, fanatic. Another question. We had a question from them last week as well. Do you wish Disney started releasing movies in 4K? Yeah. I mean, I feel like Disney are this is a platform that's in its infancy, and I feel like Disney have been trying to push away from physical releases for the last few years. They've been pushing more and more towards digital. I know, especially in Australia, they're doing that. You know, and studios were saying physical is going to be dead by 2016. So I feel like all these studios, especially Disney, were trying to push away from physical releases, and now this new platform comes along, which is 4K, UHD, ultra high definition, and I feel like Disney have kind of gone, oh, gee, well, what do we do? And I think that I feel like they're just sitting back and just going, well, let's just make sure this takes off before we start releasing our vast back catalogue on 4K. Look, I'd love to see the Marvel movies, I'd love to see the Star Wars movies, etc., in 4K. So definitely, I feel like they definitely will. There's some German releases of the Iron Man trilogy being released soon by the company that handles the distribution for Disney movies over in Germany. It's not Disney, it's this other company. But I have a feeling knowing that the fact that there are actually 4K transfers of these movies out there means that Disney has been future-proofing. I mean, these 4K transfers have to come from some official source, whether that be Disney or Marvel. Who knows? I feel like Disney's calling the shots, and Marvel, maybe they want to release their movies in 4K, but because parent company Disney aren't releasing 4K, maybe they're being restricted. I don't know, but yes, please, Disney, 4K on the horizon. I'd love to see it. Pamela Perret. Hello, stranger. Actually, no, Pamela. Which Marvel characters are you most hoping will interact in the upcoming crossover movies? Any cool scenes you will hope happen between the characters? Look, Pam, I'm just happy that we are finally getting these massive crossover movies that we have been waiting for 10 years. And any Marvel crossover gets me excited, and this one especially gets me excited because we have not only the Avengers, who we followed for 5 or 6 years by themselves, but then we also get the Guardians of the Galaxy, who we all are in love with as well, and we're also getting Spider-Man, and we're getting Doctor Strange, and we're getting all these amazing characters, and they're all just man, I think just the whole thing really hypes me up. The Guardians of the Galaxy meeting the Avengers is the one thing I am super excited about. This is amazing. Guardians is almost distance from the rest of the Marvel universe, that them meeting up is just going to feel insane. I would love to see a sort of banter between Gamora and Black Widow, Groot versus the Hulk. I can imagine Scott Lang, Ant-Man, getting along well with Star-Lord, Peter Quill. And one dynamic I'm really looking forward to seeing is the dynamic of Doctor Strange within the Avengers team. There's gonna be a lot of ego clashing between Doctor Strange and Tony Stark. I feel like they could probably get along, but there's two massive egos in the room there. I don't know, I think it could just lead to some really excellent stuff, but I just want to see some really awesome team up stuff, and yeah, look, it's going to be amazing. Next up, Jake Price. Have you heard of Harmy's despecialized editions of the original Star Wars trilogy? I have, Jake. Look, if any of you don't know out there about the despecialized editions of the Star Wars trilogy, basically it was this initiative started up by this independent production company who got sick and tired of waiting for Lucasfilm to officially release properly remastered versions of the original theatrical editions of the original Star Wars trilogy, and this team of people basically went out, they found original film prints of the original trilogy and got to work independently on restoring the movies in 4K and then released them online. Apparently they look really good, but I don't know, I don't like things like this because I feel like it harms the original producers of it. I know Lucasfilm's such a huge behemoth, especially now they're under Disney, but I feel like even though they are so reluctant to release those original movies in any real proper form, I feel like going in and undercutting them like that, and just, I don't know, I have a huge distaste for bootlegging, and I just feel like this despecialized edition of Star Wars is taking bootlegging to another level. You should never be able to profit off someone else's intellectual property or anyone's films. I just feel like I can't support that, and I'm happy to wait for an official product rather than support a team of renegades who've decided to go and do things in their own hands. I mean, they sound like the rebels versus the Empire here, but I can't support it. I've heard they apparently look amazing, and I really would love to see Lucasfilm and Disney actually release proper versions of these movies, because they're the versions of the movies I fell in love with, and I know a whole lot of other people grew up with and fell in love with as well. Kayla Jane, or was it Kyla Jane? I did this last week as well. How many pop vinyls do you have? How long have you been collecting them for? How many do I have? I don't want to answer that because I don't know myself. I don't want to count them. There's a whole ton of them here in this room. These are all just Disney ones, really. If you can see them all. They're just my Disney ones. There's got to be at least 100 there. I've got a modest collection of Star Wars ones. I've got quite a big collection of Marvel ones. There's probably more Marvel ones than Disney ones by this point. And then I've just got all these random pop culture movie ones. There's a lot in this house. And there's another person in the household that collects them as well. So again, a joint collection. There's a lot here. How long have I been collecting them for? Well, I started collecting them, I don't want to say before they became mainstream, but I feel like I started collecting them just as people were starting to cotton on to what they were. Back when I started started collecting them, there were only really 2 or 3 shops you could actually buy them from. That was EB Games, a place called Pop Culture. They are the biggest warehouse of pop culture stuff in Australia. And also it's a place called Minotaur in the city, a little collectible store in the city. So I've probably been collecting them for 4 years or so, and then they just really took off. When I first started collecting them, they were like $15 each. Now they're 20 bucks. You know, I watched these go up incrementally in price until they got up to 20 bucks. So I've been collecting a while. Abby Matlock asks if I will do a video on my full Funko Pop collection. I don't know. Maybe on the Disney ones one day I'll sort of go through them. Will I do a Disney Infinity collection? Maybe. I don't have too many of them, but I feel like, has the ship sailed for Disney Infinity stuff? Do people want to see Disney Infinity stuff anymore? If you do, let me know in the comments. I did a few Disney Infinity things early on and they weren't huge hits, but if people do want to see that, let me know in the comments. I might do a video in the future. And will I do a full Blu-ray and DVD video collection? Again, joint collection. We got a lot of movies and TV shows. The Disney videos I did, which took me about 4 videos to do, an entire cabinet of Disney animated live action, Star Wars, Marvel. There's another 4 cabinets of movies and another cabinet of TV shows. And then we've got a bunch of DVDs in tubs, like stored away. There's a lot here. And I feel like if people do want to see a full collection, let me know in the comments. But I feel like if I did do it, it wouldn't be the same as last time where I'd pull out DVD by DVD. I'd skim through the shelves and just sort of show you what's in the collection. If you want to see that, let me know. And that could tie into this whole thing where I'm trying to do some things that aren't particularly Disney stuff. And then we got just a couple of really basic questions to top us off from Jack Ross. Jack Ross asks, PlayStation or Xbox? I'm a PlayStation man, always been a PlayStation man. I grew up with a PlayStation 1. I then got myself a PlayStation 2. And then a few years in the middle there, I didn't game at all. My dad bought himself an Xbox 360 just because he wanted to play the Beatles Rock Band in high definition. Crazy. That's the only game that console was ever used to play. But now I have myself a PlayStation 4. Like about 2 years ago, I got myself a PlayStation 4. Absolutely love it when I've actually got the time to sit down and play a game. Jack Ross also asks, Beatles or Stones? Oh, it's just such an easy question. Such an easy question. It's the Beatles. Come on. It's the Beatles. I like the Stones. I love the Stones. Do I love the Stones? I do. I love the Stones. But the Beatles are the best band ever. Full stop. And John Lennon is the greatest musician ever. When I think of my biggest idols in this world who have shaped me, shaped my craft, shaped how I live, it's not only Walt Disney, but it's John Lennon as well. And they're the two that are just sort of intertwined like this for me. John Lennon was just an incredible, incredible man, and his music is so beautiful. As long as I can remember, I've loved the Beatles. I've loved John Lennon. My dad's a huge fan. I do love the Stones, but Beatles, come on. That's all for the questions on here. I do keep getting asked about my poster, so I'm going to finally show you the posters that are on the wall. This one here is a limited edition Mondo poster for Star Wars A New Hope. It's by the artist Jock, and they printed 1,400 of these, 1,445 of these a couple of years ago. I think Jock is working on an Empire Strikes Back one now as well, so that will eventually go up here. Here we have a Snow White poster. This is one that was printed in 1980, printed on this really thick card, and it's sort of designed to mimic the original theatrical poster. I had to buy that one. I love it. And then over here we have Jaws. Jaws is a bit of a placeholder at the moment for something else. I don't know. When Jock does his Empire Strikes Back, I feel like the Jaws one's going to move in the middle. I'm going to replace Jaws with the Empire Strikes Back, and then Snow White will move down, or I don't know. Oh, there's a poster over here, which is Black Swan. This is another Mondo. Absolutely love this, one of my favorite movies. Another couple of Mondos down on the floor. Wizard of Oz. I'm waiting to find someone. They'll probably go up, I don't know, my room or something. And of course, behind me here is the great man looking down on me every day when I do my videos and when I work. I think this is a good place to end the video, actually. Thank you once again for watching. If you're a first-time viewer and you like what you're seeing, please, after the jump, do me a solid and hit subscribe. To my regular viewers, thank you once again for joining me. I'd love to do another one of these Q&As. I've run out of questions though, so please, 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 questions down in the comments from absolutely anybody about absolutely anything, and I can continue this series of Q&As. If not, I'm gonna have to find something else to do next Saturday. So absolutely everybody out there, I hope I'll see you again soon. Until then though, guys, take care, and I hope you have a magical day. I gotta swap hands with the camera so I can do my salute. Have a magical weekend.